5 years. That's how long I waited to be seen. When he finally invited me to his company picnic, I thought, this is it. He's making the commitment. He's taking our relationship public. I spent 2 weeks of grocery money on a dress, 3 hours getting ready. But the moment we arrived, he walked 5 steps ahead, introduced me with no title. And when his boss asked who I was, he said just one word, a friend. And everything I believed about us shattered. I spent 3 hours getting ready. New dress from Nordstrom that cost me 2 weeks of grocery money. Perfect makeup. Hair done at that expensive salon downtown where they charge $200 just to walk through the door. I wanted to look like the kind of woman who belonged on his arm. The kind of woman his coworkers would see and think, of course Marcus is with her. My hands were shaking as I applied my lipstick for the 3rd time. I kept telling myself this was it. This was the moment everything would change. 5 years of being his secret. 5 years of, we don't need labels. And let's just see where this goes. And why do we need to define everything? Maybe today was different. The picnic was at some fancy country club in Marin County. The kind of place where membership costs more than most people make in a year. White tents everywhere. Servers in crisp uniforms walking around with champagne flutes on silver trays. Everyone looked so polished, so successful, so much like they belonged there. I felt like an imposter in my department store dress. Marcus barely touched me when we walked in. No hand-holding, no arm around my waist, no kiss on the cheek. Just walked ahead like I was some acquaintance following behind. Stay close, he said without looking back. These people are important. I smiled anyway. Maybe he was just nervous. First time bringing me around his work people. That had to mean something, right? The first group we approached was 3 guys in polo shirts and khakis. They looked like they played golf every weekend and had wives named Madison or Ashley. Marcus, one called out. Great to see you, man. Hey, everyone, this is... Marcus paused. Actually paused. I could feel my stomach drop in that silence. This is Sarah. Not my girlfriend, Sarah. Not Sarah, the woman I've been seeing. Not Sarah, my partner. Just Sarah. Like I was nobody to him. The men nodded politely, made small talk about the weather, about the food stations, about some client meeting from last week. I stood there smiling, waiting for someone to ask how we met, how long we'd been together, what I did for work. Nothing. They talked around me like I was invisible, like I was just some random woman Marcus happened to show up with. After they walked away, I tried to bring it up. You could have introduced me as your girlfriend, I said quietly. Marcus was already scanning the crowd for the next group. His eyes darted everywhere except to my face. What? Yeah, sure. Come on, I see my boss over there. My stomach dropped. But I followed, like I always did. His boss was this older woman with perfectly styled silver hair and a power suit that probably cost more than my rent. She had that confidence that comes with having real money, real success. She shook my hand firmly. So nice to meet you, Sarah. How do you know Marcus? I opened my mouth to answer, but Marcus jumped in before I could say a word. Sarah's a friend. We came together. A friend. After 5 years. After sleeping in his bed more nights than my own. After doing his laundry and cooking his meals and listening to him complain about work for hours. A friend. The boss smiled politely and moved on to business talk. Some big client they were trying to land. Some funding round that was closing soon. I stood there pretending to listen, but my ears were ringing. Friend. He called me a friend. We moved through the party like this for an hour, group after group. Each time, I was just Sarah. Sometimes a friend, sometimes just a name with no explanation at all. Never his girlfriend, never his partner, never anything that suggested I mattered to him. I watched other couples at the party, saw how the men introduced their wives, their girlfriends, saw hands on backs, arms around waists, Little kisses and inside jokes and the way couples look at each other when they're proud to be together. Marcus did none of that. He kept a careful distance between us. When someone would tell a funny story, he'd laugh and lean toward them, not me. When we moved from group to group, he'd walk ahead, leaving me to catch up. When people asked about his life, he talked about work, his apartment, his hobbies. Never mentioned me once. I needed air. I needed space. I told Marcus I was going to the bathroom and walked toward the clubhouse. That's when I heard them. 2 women from his office were standing by the bar, drinks in hand, talking in low voices. I was walking past when I caught my own name. Sarah seems nice enough, but honestly, she must be so desperate to hang on to him all these years. I stopped walking. My feet just froze. They hadn't seen me yet. Right? Like, take the hint already. If he wanted to marry you, he would have by now. 5 years? Come on, Marcus told me she's just casual, easygoing, doesn't ask for more. My chest felt tight. I couldn't breathe right. I mean, what does she even do for work? He was so vague about it. Probably nothing real. You know how some women just float around, waiting for a man to take care of them. They laughed. Actually laughed, like it was funny that I existed. She's pretty, though, I'll give her that. Pretty enough for a casual thing, I guess. But Marcus is going places. He needs someone on his level. I walked past them like I hadn't heard anything, kept my head high, got to the bathroom and locked the door, stared at myself in the mirror. My makeup was still perfect, hair still in place, but my eyes looked hollow, like someone had sucked the life out of me. 5 years. 5 years of being easygoing, of not asking for more, of telling myself that love didn't need labels, that what we had was special because it was private. But they were right, weren't they? If he wanted to marry me, he would have. If he was proud of me, he'd show me off. If I was more than just convenient, he wouldn't hide me. I touched up my lipstick with shaking hands. Went back outside. Marcus was talking to another group now. I could see him from across the lawn, gesturing with his hands, telling some story that was making everyone laugh. He looked so comfortable, so confident, so embarrassed by me that he couldn't even call me his girlfriend. I walked over just as someone was asking, "So when are you going to settle down, Marcus?" "Get married? You're not getting any younger." I watched his face change. The smile disappeared completely. His shoulders went stiff. He looked around like a trapped animal searching for an escape route. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe someday. Hey, did you try the sliders? They're incredible." He changed the subject so fast it gave me whiplash. Started talking about the catering company, about how they'd used them for corporate events before. I'd seen this before. At his friend's wedding last year, at his cousin's engagement party 6 months ago, at every family gathering where someone asked about our future. Anytime marriage came up, Marcus would go pale and find an escape route. Change the subject, make jokes. Suddenly remember he needed a drink or had to use the bathroom. But I'd always told myself he was just private, that he'd come around, that he needed time. Standing there watching him squirm, I finally saw the truth. This man would rather die than marry me. The worst part? I could see it in his body language now that I was looking for it. The way he angled himself away from me when we talked to people. The way he'd step forward when someone approached, like he was creating a physical barrier between me and them. He was embarrassed by me, ashamed of me. All this time, I thought he was protecting our relationship, keeping it private because it was special. But he was protecting himself from me, from the embarrassment of being seen with someone like me. "Sarah!" A man's voice echoes across the lawn. I turned around. A tall man in an expensive suit was walking toward me with a huge smile on his face. "Sarah Anderson, right?" "Oh my God, I can't believe it's you." I stared at him. He looked familiar, but I couldn't place him. Definitely not from Marcus's work. "I'm David Kim. We met at the innovation conference last month. I'm an investor with Meridian Capital. And then it hit me. The conference where I'd presented my app idea. The app that had been quietly exploding for the past 6 months while I'd been pretending it was just a hobby to keep Marcus comfortable. David, hi, I said, and for the first time all day, my smile felt real. I have to tell you, he said, loud enough that people nearby were turning to look. Your app is incredible. We've been tracking your numbers, and they're absolutely insane. You're at what, 2 million downloads now? I felt my cheeks flush. 2.7, actually. 2.7 million? The woman next to us gasped. What kind of app? I could see Marcus from the corner of my eye. He'd stopped mid-sentence in his conversation, was staring at us with his mouth slightly open. It's a habit tracker, I said, but specifically designed for women's health and wellness. It integrates period tracking, mood patterns, exercise, nutrition, sleep, everything in one comprehensive platform. And it's brilliant, David said. The UI is perfect. The data visualization is better than anything I've seen from teams with 10 times the funding and 50 developers. You built this yourself? I did. I've been working on it for about a year. A year? Marcus appeared next to me suddenly. You never mentioned it was that big. I thought it was just a side thing. Sarah's being modest, David continued, his voice getting louder. More people were gathering around us now. She's looking at 8 figures in revenue this year. Easy. We've been trying to get a meeting with her for months. The whole group had gone quiet. I could feel everyone staring at me. 8 figures? Someone whispered. That's... Marcus's voice cracked. That's millions. Tens of millions, David corrected. Sarah, you're getting calls from acquisition teams, right? Google, Apple, Meta? I nodded. A few? A few. David laughed. She's being courted by every major tech company in Silicon Valley. This woman is about to be one of the youngest self-made millionaires in the health tech space. I looked at Marcus. His face had gone completely white. His mouth was hanging open like he'd never seen me before. You didn't know? David asked, looking between us with confusion. Sarah never said, she mentioned some side project, but nothing like this. Side project? David's eyebrows shot up. Sarah, you're not calling it a side project, are you? This is a full-scale business empire you're building. The group around us had grown to at least 15 people. Everyone was pulling out their phones, probably looking up my app right now. How did you learn to code? Someone asked. I taught myself, I said. Online courses, tutorials, YouTube videos. I've always been good with computers. And the business side? Same thing. YouTube, podcasts, business books. I figured it out as I went along. That's incredible, David said. Sarah's app has a 96% user retention rate. The industry average is like 30%. She's revolutionizing women's health tracking. Marcus was staring at me like he'd never seen me before. Like I was a complete stranger. This is absolutely incredible, the boss lady from earlier said, pushing through the crowd. Marcus, you didn't tell us you were dating an entrepreneur. We're not, Marcus started, then stopped. Everyone was looking at him expectantly. Not what? David asked with a confused smile. The silence stretched out. Marcus opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. We are, but we're not. He was turning red now, sweating. It's complicated. Complicated how? David's voice had an edge to it now. I could see exactly what was happening. Marcus had been happy to keep me as his secret, his easy girl who didn't ask for anything, who was convenient when he wanted company but invisible when it mattered. But now that I was successful, now that I was impressive, now that his boss and his coworkers were looking at me with respect, now he wanted to claim me. Actually, I said, my voice steady and clear, it's not complicated at all. Everyone turned to look at me. Marcus and I are friends, just friends. He's made that very clear over the past 5 years. Marcus's face went from red to purple. Sarah, that's not what I meant. He's right, though, I continued, looking directly at the 2 women from the bar who were now standing at the edge of our circle. I am easygoing. I don't ask for more. I learned not to. The group was completely silent now. I could feel the tension crackling in the air. I turned to David. About that meeting you mentioned, are you free next week? Absolutely. I'll have my assistant call you Monday morning. Perfect. I pulled out my phone and sent a quick text to my driver. I should head out, early day tomorrow. Wait! Marcus grabbed my arm. Sarah, don't go. We should talk. I looked down at his hand on my arm, then back up at his face. There's nothing to talk about, Marcus. You've been perfectly clear about what this is. What I am to you. I gently pulled my arm away. David, thank you for the kind words about the app. Everyone, it was lovely meeting you. I walked away. Didn't look back. At the edge of the lawn, my black Porsche Panamera pulled up. My driver opened the door for me. I watched Marcus and his co-workers watch in shock as I slid into the leather interior. My phone was already buzzing with texts from Marcus by the time we pulled away. Sarah, please come back. You're being dramatic. I never said we were just friends. You're twisting my words. Can we please talk about this like adults? Why didn't you tell me your app was that successful? I'm proud of you. I've always been proud of you. I didn't respond to any of them. 3 days later, David's firm offered me a $50 million buyout for my app. I turned it down, decided to keep building instead. 6 months after that, I was featured on the cover of Forbes. The Accidental Mogul: How One Woman Built a Health Empire from Her Laptop. Marcus tried to call me the day the article came out. I didn't pick up, but I did see the text he sent after. I made a mistake. I should have been proud of you. I should have been proud to be with you. I'm sorry. I stared at that text for a long time. Part of me wanted to respond. Part of me wanted to forgive him. But then I remembered standing in that bathroom mirror, hearing those women laugh about how desperate I was, watching Marcus's face when someone asked about marriage, the way he'd introduced me as just a friend. 5 years I'd waited for him to be proud of me, to choose me, to see my worth. I didn't need him to see it anymore. I could see it myself. I deleted the text without responding. The truth is, I'd spent so long making myself smaller to fit into Marcus's life, asking for less so he wouldn't feel pressured, being easygoing so he wouldn't leave, pretending my dreams were hobbies so he wouldn't feel threatened. But the whole time, I was building something bigger than both of us, something that was entirely mine. That day at the picnic, I thought I was losing everything, but I was actually finding it, finding myself, and that was worth more than any relationship that required me to shrink. 2 years later, my app has 15 million users in 37 countries. I've got a team of 50 people, an office in downtown San Francisco with a view of the bay. I've been invited to speak at conferences around the world. Marcus still works at the same startup, still going to company picnics, still telling people he's not ready to settle down. But I heard through mutual friends that he's been telling everyone he discovered me, that he always knew I'd be successful, that he was the one who encouraged me to build the app in the first place. Some people never change, but some of us do. And the ones who do, we're unstoppable. If this story resonated with you, you're not alone. So many women have been in relationships where we're asked to be less than we are, where our dreams are treated as hobbies, where we're loved conditionally, only when we're convenient. But here's what I want you to remember. Your worth isn't determined by someone else's ability to see it. Your dreams aren't less important because someone else doesn't understand them. And your success doesn't need anyone else's permission. You don't have to wait for someone to be proud of you. You can be proud of yourself. That's enough. You're enough. And if someone can't see that, that's their loss, not yours.